welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Robert Muchnick, who is here on behalf of Third. And boy, based on what you were just telling me, sounds like you have your work cut out for you on the bylaws and CC&Rs. Well, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Lisa, and thank you for having me today.
You're
You're right. We have been wrestling with the CC&Rs for this past year, but let me give you a little bit of history so the members understand. When Rosemarie DiLorenzo was president of Third Mutual, she wanted to undertake the process to change and update the CC&Rs, but she wasn't able to get the kind of support from her board because there wasn't any really tipping issue that caused them to want to move forward. However, in the past year, insurance has become the major tipping issue. The members need to understand who live in Third that there are actually 59 different mutuals that make up Third Mutual. Each mutual, each of the 59 has their own set of CC&Rs, okay? So there is not necessarily any agreement from one to another. We have over 22,000 pages of CC&Rs. Many of those CC&Rs are as much as 50 years old. They haven't been updated in a long time. They're out of sync with current law. They're out of sync with current practice, and they're just unmanageable. And one of the things that's in those CC&Rs, which we'll spend hopefully a few minutes talking about, is the insurance requirement. Currently, Third Mutual is required to have 100% replacement cost for insurance. And when we get into insurance, you'll see why that's a serious problem. So what we're asking the members to do in the next month or so is to vote to approve a new set of CC&Rs, a new set of bylaws. The new CC&Rs for all 59 mutuals will now be approximately 106 pages. And all the members will have access to being able to see all the new CC&Rs, what the changes are, changes in the bylaws, and then we'll be able to answer any questions they have. But that's what brings us to the insurance issue.
wow. So how are you going to whittle down 22,000 pages to 106?
Well, what our lawyers did, which I think actually was brilliant, was rather than try to combine 22,000 pages into a single, what they did was, because they have a tremendous amount of HOA experience, they represent HOAs all up and down California, they crafted a whole new set of bylaws that are current with the laws, that include all the different statutes and everything, rather than try to cobble together pieces out of 22,000 pages.
Wow. Why do you think when Rosemarie was around, there was some pushback on changing it?
Well, there wasn't any tipping issue. There wasn't the insurance hanging over our head like a guillotine, at this point. And that's really what prompted this board to say, okay, we don't have a choice. We've got to go forward with this change.
All right. Well, let's jump into the insurance because I know that's a real heavy load.
What we have is, and I want the people to understand, we have a chart that actually will be distributed to everybody. And what this chart includes is, it shows what the previous premiums were for the different insurances that Third is required to maintain. And the key one for all of the members, the one that's most important, has to really do with the property insurance. That's the major one. The property insurance last year cost us $967,000 for property insurance, okay? This current year, that cost jumped to $1,413,000 and change, okay? So we saw a significant increase. For next year, we budgeted, actually for this year, we budgeted $1,021,000. The cost has been so far, just for property, $1,413,000. Next year, we're budgeting $3,087,000 for the same coverage. So people need to understand, here's what happened. We were insured by Travelers Insurance for the last 20 years, okay? And we had an evaluation of the whole village of $700 million, okay? Sounds wonderful. Our insurance was based on on that evaluation. Travelers and other companies said, we will not write insurance for this coming year without a new evaluation of the village. So we undertook a new evaluation of the village, and the village went from $700 million to $3.4 billion.
Oh, good night.
Okay, so you're talking about a 5-time increase in the valuation of the village. Okay, so since Third has 1.6 billion of that, we're required by the current CC&Rs to insure for 1.6 billion if we can get it. Though it's not likely we can even get 1.6 billion dollars. We're trying, but it's not even clear. And if we can get it, it's going to be absolutely astronomical, because the 3,087,000 that's budgeted for next year for property insurance is based on a previous amount of $700 million. So if you go to 1.6, let's double that to 6 million just for property insurance. Wow. However, that people need to understand, Travelers this year gave us at the moment an estimate of, for the first $50 million, that's what they're willing to take. So we have to layer on for the other companies to get up to where we want to be. For the first $50 million, they want now $3.5 million in premium for 1 year.
Wow.
Okay, that compares to the $818,000 that I shared with you earlier. That was the premium for the first 50 million. So that's gone up 5 times.
Wow.
So we're in a serious pickle in terms of insurance. The board is doing its best to try to keep the cost as low as possible. But this is another major driving force for the CC&Rs, and why we want the people of Third to take a very serious look at what we're proposing with the new CC&Rs, because without it, we're not going to be able to control the cost of insurance.
Okay. Well, then that should certainly point them in the right direction. If your CC&Rs are brought up to date, then maybe you can not charge them so much for insurance in the long run, right?
Well, this year we did a $20 per manor per month increase to help cover the cost of some of the insurance. But the members need to understand that that $20 per manor per month is not only for insurance, but for the cost of the employees, their raises, things of that nature. Right. If we had raised this year just the cost of insurance, it would have been, for just insurance, $44 per manor per month. We're taking some money out of reserve to help compensate for this year, but we can't do that year in and year out.
Right.
So if we don't get the CC&Rs fixed, in a sense, the cost that's passed on to the manor owners could be next year as much as $80 per manor per month. Wow. We want to avoid that.
Exactly. Well, what do the manor folks need to do to help you out?
Well, they need to talk to each other. They need to talk to members of the board. They need to read the new CC&Rs, the ballot information that they'll be sent, which will give them a whole explanation of what the major changes are. But if they want to read the actual specifics, they'll have a link to the CC&Rs and the new bylaws, so they can read every word of what they're voting on. And we want them to be an informed membership, and we want them to vote what they think is right and best. The board currently thinks right and best is to vote for the new CC&Rs. But we also need according to the CC&Rs, we need a 67% approval rate of all of the members. That's not just who vote, that's 67% of everyone. So we need people to vote, and hopefully they will vote to support the change.
Okay. When does the voting come up for this?
Well, they're going to get the ballots approximately October 2nd in the mail, and they'll have 1 month in which to cast their ballot. They can either send it in by mail, or they can drop it off at the community center. Outside, there'll be a voting box for them to drop the ballot off in. And there'll be lots of material. We'll be doing lots of these kinds of This Day interviews, hopefully. We'll be doing crawls on the TV6. We'll be doing stories in the Globe. And the board will be available to do some Zoom meetings with members in hopes to explain to them and answer any questions they have.
Good. That was going to be my question to you, is do you anticipate after October, when they receive the ballots, will you have special meetings to help the folks understand some things regarding?
Well, it's going to be a little difficult because by law, board members cannot advocate for the change in the CC&Rs during the voting period.
I see.
So we have between now and actually October 2nd to do these kinds of things. We have other people who will do some of the Zoom meetings who are not board members to help us out.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good because, you know, going from as many pages as you mentioned to something shorter, they probably want to know, okay, exactly what has changed.
And they'll be able to see all of that. We're going to be completely transparent with this whole process.
Great. Well, thank you very much for the information. Good luck to you. That's quite an undertaking.
Well, thank you very much, and I hope to see you again soon. And everybody stay healthy. And I just want to say one last thing, if you don't mind. My mother-in-law, who lives here in the Towers, is turning 97. I want to wish her a happy birthday.
Oh, that's adorable. Well, happy birthday to your mom.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. And we'll be right back after this.